we're going to tackle about testing installed equipment and device. So we need a decent understanding of a regulation. And we also need to understand the great practices demanded by law. So, as a computer technician, you may need a decent understanding of a health and safety regulation from ahead of time in your career in order that you can understand the great practices demanded by law. So specifically, you need to report any kinds of problems or accident, take charge of everything when moving components, avoid things that can cause electrical hazard, and ensure that workstation meet the safety requirements. And now, we're going to tackle about diagnostic tools are used to test and diagnose equipment. So, what is a diagnostic tool? That's right. Diagnostic tools is a piece of software that give you the knowledge you need to be able to potentially repair your own computer. Diagnostic tools are the following. First, digital multimeter. So, a digital multimeter is a device that takes many types of measurement. It tests the integrity of a circuit. And digital multimeter is the quality of electricity in computer components. Display information on an LCD or LED. So specifically, digital multimeter are measuring instrument that can measure quantities such as voltage, current, and resistance. So the next diagnostic tool is loopback adapter. It is also called as loopback plug. It tests the basic functionality of a computer ports. The adapter is specific to the port. In addition, a loopback adapter is also known as loopback plug or a loopback cable, which is a plug used to test the physical ports to identify network issue. And it also provides system test engineers a simple but effective way of testing the transmission capability and receiver sensitivity of network equipment. And the last diagnostic tool is the toner probe. A toner probe is a two-part tool. The toner generates a tone that travels. The probe part usually traces the cable. A tone can be heard through a speaker. In addition, a toner probe are used for finding electrical cables such as internet cables, phone lines, speaker wires, and Ethernet wires in a house or a building. They allow you to find cables by tracing electrical signals back to their sources.
Software tools. Like hardware tools, there are a variety of software tools that can be used to help technicians pinpoint and troubleshoot problems. Many of these tools are free and several come with a Windows operating system. Disk management tools. Software tools help diagnose computer and network problems and determine which computer device is not functioning correctly. A technician must be able to use a range of software tools to diagnose problems, maintain hardware, and protect the data stored on a computer. You must be able to identify which software to use in different situations. Disk management tools help detect and correct disk errors, prepares a disk for data storage, and remove unwanted files. The following are the things that you must remember. First is format. This prepares a hard drive to store information. Second is scan disk or CHKDSK. This checks the integrity of files and folders on a hard drive by scanning the file system. These tools might also check the disk surface for physical errors. Third is defragmentation. This optimizes space on a hard drive to allow faster access to programs and data. Fourth is disk cleanup. This clears space on a hard drive by searching for files that can be safely deleted. And lastly is System File Checker, or also known as SFC. It is a command line tool that scans the operating system, critical files, and replaces files that are corrupted. Next, we're going to tackle about testing computer system. The best way to find out what's wrong is to take a proactive approach. Check under your PC's hood with the following mostly free diagnostic tools and see if anything is amiss before disaster strikes.
There are three major components of computer system. First, hardware, a physical parts of components of a computer. Second, software, instructions that tells the computer what to do. Software comprises the entire set of programs, procedure, and routines associated with the operation of computer system. Third, firmware, a permanent software programmed into a read-only memory.
In this lesson, we're going to talk about test your hardware. Checking your computer hardware and its peripherals. Number 1, computer monitor and its peripherals. Self-test in how to run your monitor. The first thing you're going to do is power off the computer and the monitor. And then disconnect signal cables from your computer's back. And lastly, power up the monitor to initiate display. Also take note that self-test mode keeps LED indicator illuminated and check signal cable figure roams on screen. And that monitor alternates between analog and digital boxes, and it is normal for monitors to support both signals. And lastly, LED power indicators remains on during self-test. And the top results are A. Check cable signals if seen, graphics card. B. First figure missing color, monitor needs service. Figures invisible, monitor's light on, service needed. Number 2. Keyboard and mouse. How can we test a laptop keyboard? This is the following steps. Skip key check, test keyboard via software. And typing in word processor lacks diagnostic insight. And clear keys not indicator of driver's issues. Comprehensive test, hardware management utility in Windows. And lastly, keyboard testing requires hardware management utility usage. Just follow the 5 following steps. So first, click Start to initiate the process. Second, access Control Panel to continue setup. Third, navigate to System for further configuration. Fourth, open Device Manager to manage devices. Lastly, right-click on List of computer keyboards. Number 3, check the RAM. RAM is the vital computer hardware that boosts the performance of our computer. An expert has said or recommend that upgrading RAM will give you a better performance or experience. And check RAM in System Properties for a mount. Below there are the following test results. It's stated that memory problems causes blue screens of death, or in other words, BSOD. And to test the memory, use the MEMTRST86. The test works automatically at boot time. And lastly, this needs 30 minutes to be completed.
Check for hard disk drive or solid-state drive health. The hard disk drive HDD or solid-state drive SSD contains the operating system that is installed on your computer, and once it gets some problems, your whole machine may hang and freeze often or even fail in the long run. It is therefore important to make your HDD or SSD in 100% health always. As stated here, it is very important for HDD or SSD to be in 100% health always, as once it gets some problems, the whole computer may hang and freeze often. Checking for HDD or SSD health is important, especially if you are planning to purchase a used computer, since you don't really know the current condition of the drive itself. You can find plenty of tools that can be used to test a hard disk drive or solid-state drive in your computer. And if you have an SSD installed, you can use SSD Live to check your solid-state drive's health. For HDDs, you need to use another tool called HD Sentinel. Designed for hard drives, this tool can help you identify problems, diagnose problems, and fix hard drive problems before they get worse. To download this software, please visit the official website of Hard Disk Sentinel. Next, test CPU and GPU. The CPU and GPU are two very important hardware components on any computer and are involved in data commands and all other major processing in between. Thanks to these two hardware components, you can use Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, Excel, and even open your favorite browser. You need to make sure that these two hardware components are working properly, as they can also be used to play games. You can use firmware to test them. As stated here, the CPU and GPU are very important hardware in any computer because it involves the data, commands, and all other major processing in the computer. Thanks to these, we can use Microsoft Office, PowerPoint, Excel, and others. To test these hardwares, we can use firmware. If you're trying to test a low-end PC that doesn't have a dedicated GPU that supports high resolutions, you should choose 1280 by 720. If you're testing a medium to high-end PC with a GPU or graphics card, choose a resolution from 1280 times 720 to 1920 by 1080 Full HD graphics resolutions. If the screen flickers or distorts during the test, it indicates a problem with the GPU. To test your computer's CPU, simply open the CPU burner and click the Start button to start the test. If your computer hangs or freezes during the test, it means there is a hardware problem or there is not enough cooling system for the CPU to work properly. Test hardware to prevent serious problems. As you can see, there are ways to test your computer hardware both online and offline. Both help ensure that your computer is in good conditions. These tests also help determine if it's worth buying a popular computer.
Number 6. INO port and devices. INO port linked to the peripheral device. Cable issue between INO port peripheral device. A peripheral device malfunction potential hardware fault. A system setup program settings misconfiguration detected. Incorrect settings in the system's configuration files. Faulty logic in system, boards, and INO port. Number 7. Power supply test. Maximum of 24 volts can shock you. So, your body will be shocked by 24 volts. Motherboard connects to big 24 ISH pin connector. Green wire connects to adjacent wire. So the small green wire that we can see in the picture, it connects the two black wires. The power supply fan should start up. The power supply fan should start up so that it can cool your motherboard. It's dead if the fan doesn't work. Motherboard has issues if the fan works. So let's proceed to the explanation. Use caution here. Thought you'd only be shocked with a max of 24 volts. Plug the power supply into the wall. The power supply's fan should start up. If it doesn't, then it's dead. If the fan starts up, then it could be the motherboard that's dead. You can use a multimeter to check if there is a power output from the power supply. And that's all.